The 6 to 7 Figure Show, episode 63. Let's hit it.
Broadcasting from the Valley of the Sun outside Phoenix, Arizona. This is the 6 to 7 Figure Show. Tired of working so hard and having no time? Take your six-figure practice and turn it to a thriving seven-figure enterprise. And now, your host, author, speaker, mentor, and strategist, Frank Bria.
Hey everyone, welcome to the 6 to 7 Figure Show. I'm your host, Frank Bria, and today we are going to have a special episode, a series of trainings that we are talking about, which are going to be the 12 critical projects that you need to execute in your business in order to hit 100K a month in your service business using a high-ticket program. There's a lot of focus that we spend on the design up front, but we are going to be focusing on one of those projects today. So we're going to cut over to training on one of those projects. And after the training's done, come back, hang with us, and I will give you a way for you to get a copy of some of this training for yourself. And we'll turn it over to there. Hey everyone, Frank Bria here, going live on day 11. Actually, day 11 was yesterday, but it was a little crazy yesterday. I apologize. We are back on schedule today. So project number 11 is retargeting ads. And again, I'm not training you on how to run ads. So we're not going to talk about the specifics of retargeting and how to make that work. But because you're going to need to hire somebody for that, and you're going to want to make sure that they, do all the stuff they need to do to pixel your audience and all that stuff. The purpose of retargeting ads is to build trust and credibility with an existing audience. So they've already opted in some way. They've already started to engage with you. So you need to make sure that the technology is working so that you're pixeling the relevant audience so that the retargeting can work at all. And then it comes down to content, okay? Because in retargeting, the problem is you don't really know who you're speaking to. These are people who have opted in and you're starting to build a relationship with, but you don't really know where they are in the buying cycle. And so you kind of have to cover all the bases. Understanding the psychological journey that your ideal client is going to go through is critical to putting out good content that doesn't just interest your audience, but actually moves them to take action. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make when they think about content. They just kind of randomly put content out there that thinks so the audience will just kind of think, oh, this is interesting. This person knows what they're talking about. But the fact is that there is a journey, there is a process that your prospect will go through in deciding to buy from you. And you need to be able to speak to those different psychological stages in your content. So I'm going to use an example of a shopping mall here to help make the point, because that's an example that I think everybody's familiar with. And anyway, retail has kind of figured out buying psychology and perfected it a long time ago. So we might as well learn from them. All right. Step one is called the loiterer. Initially, your prospect is just loitering in front of your store. They're standing out there in front, not even sure why they're there. Now, because you're retargeting them, they must have clicked on something or interacted with you in some way, but don't overinterpret that behavior, okay? Because a lot of people just click on stuff and they don't really know what they're talking about. You need to treat them literally as a loiterer. So what is your job with a loiterer? Well, it's either to get them into your store or it's to shuffle them along to someplace else. So either they're interested in what you have to talk about or you just need to kind of move them along. The way to do that is to be very specific and very clear about what you do and who you work with. I mean, think about the storefront, okay? All they have in a mall is their logo, the name of the store, and maybe a window display to get you to make a decision to go in. That window display is very specific about what you're going to see. They don't try to trick you or clickbait you into walking into the store. If they did, you would figure it out very quickly and you'd get really angry. I mean, if it was a sporting goods store and they put lingerie in the window to get you to walk in and you found out it was really a sporting goods store, you'd get kind of pissed off. So don't try to trick them. Be very clear in the content. Who's the ideal client and what do you create for them? So make it clear, make it specific. And if people don't align with that, if that's not who they are, that's okay. They just need to move along, and you need to move them along. You need to get them out of your audience and out in front of the store. So just make it clear to them that this isn't what you do. All right, step 2, the looker. Now, after your prospect steps into your store, you still haven't won them over. There's a lot of work you have left to do. In fact, what happens when you walk into a store and a salesperson runs up to you and you're not ready to talk to them? What do? You say, I'm just looking. That's what we say to kind of push people away. And that's what these folks are in your audience. They are lookers. They are interested broadly in what you have to say, but they're not hooked yet. So your job is to help them with the process of kind of checking the place out. And you do that by painting a picture of the outcome you intend to create for them. I mean, think about a retail store. It's all visual. You know, they don't just stack the mattresses up against the wall. They set them out in the storefront, and they put bedspreads and nightstands and pillows and tons of pillows. And they do that so that you can visualize what the product's going to look like in your own home. And you need to do the same thing. Your content needs to help your client visualize the image, be very specific, be emotional, give them a feel of what it's like to work with you and what they'll have after they're done working with you. All right, step 3, the shopper. Now, at some point, buying behavior changes in a store. When you have lookers who are kind of wandering through the aisles, you'll see them actually change their behavior. They'll suddenly stop. They'll change direction. They'll double back. They'll actually take stuff off the shelf. They'll start to interact with the merchandise. They read the tags. They compare 2 things on the shelf. They've now become a shopper. And really good salespeople recognize this behavior and they engage in a conversation. This is usually when really good retail salespeople will come up to and talk to you. And they don't just start in with a random, how can I help you, as if they don't know anything about you. At least the good ones don't. They say things like, you know what, that would look great on you, or that's one of our most popular items, or you're going to want to get AA batteries with that. They're going to engage in a conversation as if they've been in the customer's head this whole time. So the shopper focuses on facts and figures. Now that they can visualize the item and what it means for them in their own personal life, they want to know more. And your job is to provide them that information. In a service business, that means you outline processes that achieve the outcome you just described. Your shopper wants the play-by-play. So here's where you teach, you explain, and you provide the path forward. All right, step 4, the buyer. Now, once the customer knows they want to buy something, they're going to make a beeline to the cash register. You ever been in a store where you couldn't find the cash register? Happens all the time. I know it's crazy, but all of that work that you've done to get the customer into the store and interested in something, all will be destroyed if that customer cannot finalize the purchase. And we kind of do the same thing online sometimes when we don't let people know how to engage in a sales conversation. So if you don't make it clear to the prospect what the next step is to actually engage in that conversation, you'll completely lose them. And if you've ever put down like an armful of items in a department store because you couldn't find the cash register or anyone to check you out, then you know what I'm talking about. It's pretty frustrating. So make sure when you create content, you tell people how to buy. Explain the sales conversation. What does it entail? What will they get with that experience, and why should they do it? Give them a reason to come to the cash register, and don't use discounts and fake scarcity. Every decision has a cost of inaction. So explain what that is and make it clear. And then give them really simple directions to the cash register, which in your case is your application funnel. All right. Those are the 4 stages of the psychological journey, going from the loiterer to the looker to the shopper to the buyer. They all have different needs, and different content will speak to them. And since you're retargeting an entire audience, you don't really know who you're talking to. But there are specific content types that will address each of these psychological stages, and we'll discuss it in a future training. But you'll want to take that list and make sure you check off every box, because you don't know what stage your prospect's at, and when they're listening to you, you have no idea. So you're going to have to cover all the bases and make sure your prospect will actually make progress towards a sales conversation. All right, that was it for today's training. Hope that was helpful. When you execute a retargeting ad campaign, it's all about the content. So hopefully this trip through the psychological journey has been helpful. All right, everyone, we'll see you tomorrow for our very last training on the 12 days to 7 figures, where we'll talk about the 12th project you need to execute. Until then, we'll see you. Bye-bye. All right, everyone, that's it for today. And two things that you want to do. Number one, if you have not had a chance to join our Facebook group, you need to be able to do that. This is really where we're going to be discussing a lot of this stuff in detail. You can actually, in the Facebook group, get written documentation of the project that we just discussed. So where you want to go to is facebook.com/groups/high ticket program. All together in one word, no breaks, no dashes, high ticket program. So facebook.com/groups/high ticket program. That link is below the video or in the show notes page. If you're out and about listening audio, come on back to click on through and join. Absolutely free. Other thing that we want to offer you is called our 12-week high ticket program Black Book. This is over 60 pages of standard operating procedures for designing, launching, executing your high ticket program. The way you get that is you go to frankbria.com/blackbook. Again, the link is below here for you to grab that. High ticket program is our Facebook group. The Black Book is our free 60-page standard operating manual for how to run a group program. Go get that at frankbria.com/blackbook, and we will see you there. Thanks again so much for being with us today. We're going to have great content again coming up soon, so stick with us for our next episode, and we'll see you soon. All right, everyone, take care. Bye-bye.